Namaskaram. The South Indian is here, and let me tell you, it's in the air now. You know, the festivity, one after the other, we are going to be celebrating a lot of festivals. We are going into Onam is coming, of course. Then we shall have Dashara, then we'll have Deepavali, and it will go on and on. We shall all take out our kanjivarams, wear our saris, wear our veshtis and mundus, and celebrate. Today, our focus is on Kerala because it's Onam time in Kerala, one of the biggest festivals in the state. But you know what? Unfortunately, it shall not be celebrated with the same gusto and fervor as in the past. The reason being Kerala is facing a massive and prolonged financial crisis. As a result, this year the government has decided to cut back on the distribution of free Onam food kits to all and has limited it to those yellow ration card holders, that is Antyodaya Anna Yojana, that is AAY beneficiaries who belong to the most economically backward section of society. Now, what does this cloth kit have? Well, each cloth kit will have something like tea powder, green gram dal, semia paisam mix. For those who do not know what paisam is, in Bengali it's the same way paesh, which is for kheer, and in most of the South Indian languages it is paisam. So, semia paisam mix, ghee, cashew nuts, coconut oil, sambar powder, chili powder, turmeric powder, coriander powder, tur dal, powdered salt and cloth bag. I had to read all that out to you because see, now the cloth kits, they are in limited numbers. So, at least let us enjoy all the ingredients in them. You know, one of the indications that this time Onam shall be muted is also the fact that last year sugar as well as sakara variety, which is a kind of a sweet which is made with jaggery, and a few other ingredients are also missing from this time kit. Last time it was all there. I have spoken to many people in Kerala. Now, let us get the approximate numbers here. You know, why is it that last year it was much better than this time? Last year Onam kits were distributed to 87 lakh consumers at a cost of 500 crores. This year, owing to a near financial emergency in the state's treasury, the government will distribute just over 6 lakh kits worth 32 crores. Now, further if we segregate it, this year 6,07,691 kits will be distributed, of which 5,87,691 for families in the high priority category. I told you who they were, and the rest for welfare institutions. They could be destitutes or those who really require help. As you know, Kerala of course believes in being a welfare state. K.N. Balagopal, the finance minister of Kerala, had sort of hinted that the government may give up the practice of universal distribution this year, and guess what, it's come true, and that's why we are speaking about, look at that, I mean, I want the camera to pan there, muted Onam in Kerala this year. It's not going to be as celebratory as it has been over the years. Let's get back to the story. There are several reasons why Kerala is reeling under a financial crisis, but one of the legitimate reasons is also that the state government is facing a shortage of about 8,000 crores thereabout due to the union government's cut in the upper ceiling on market borrowings. The government had earlier asked the Civil Supplies Department to submit alternate proposals to reduce the spending on food kits. The department's proposal said the spending could be limited to 30 crores if only AAY families are considered. Any other addition would mean a serious financial burden on the state. But you know what? You all must be thinking, it's festivity time. You and I, don't you agree, we've all suffered during the pandemic. Everything was so muted, we couldn't go out. But now when the world has opened up, even now if you cut back, particularly the South Indian feels that, you know, without our festivals, what's the fun then? So I'm asking you, can cutting back on Onam kits be the only or one of the ways to curtail spending by the Kerala government? Or does Kerala needs drastic measures to get its act together? Let's debate and talk about this. A lot of people are joining us on the panel, but we shall have to wait for them. For instance, B.A. Prakash, former chairperson of the 5th State Finance Commission, Kerala, SFC, and former professor, Department of Economics, is joining us. Lieutenant Commander retired Gokul Chandran, who is a political analyst, will also be joining us. But as of now, I am joined by senior journalist and political analyst M. Rajendran. Namaskaram, Mr. Rajendran. How are you today?
Namaskaram, Sudha. I'm good.
Okay,
Should I be saying Happy Onam in advance, or should I wait for that mute to get over?
no, but why? I'll come to your house for Sadhya. No, I say you cannot get
Anytime
away.
welcome.
Yeah, you can't get away like this. No, to say I'll say Happy Onam. I want to eat everything, whether Kerala is
Yes, yes, you are
celebrating
welcome
or
for
not.
Onam Sadhya.
Yeah, I will come. I just want to ask you that this time around it is muted. As you know, only those who are yellow cards, I mean, who are economically extremely marginalized, they are getting this cloth bag, this kit, which has all the necessary things for Onam. You know what, Mr. Rajendran? This is not new, because for the past several months, if I may stick my neck out, almost a year, one has been hearing about how Kerala is in the red. I mean, I don't mean ideologically, it's a pun, but then the thing is financial distress. Please, your opening comments on this. I know that I'm not sitting on judgment. I know people will pounce on me. I've looked at Tamil Nadu, Karnataka. No, I'm only focusing on Kerala. Don't you think it is a kind of a disturbing trend, if one could say?
It is certainly. So that, I mean, one has to look at the numbers which Kerala is going to face. It's going to face a debt of the per head debt is going to be more than 1 lakh, which means the burden will be on the every Keralite to repay that loan. Plus, you can't be depending on borrowing to run the government. I mean, the government, which has sort of mismanaged, I would say, in balancing its act, or has not been able to bring their financial prudence required to run a state which does not possess big industries. To say traditionally, because of the environment and ecosystem, it runs on MSME sector. See, I mean, traditionally it has faced the problem due to demonetization, GST, and other things, and that has had the impact. But set aside those, the internal management of the government in distribution of finance has, lot to desire for. I mean, it's not that they did not, they got a exchequer which was in a really bad shape. It was a very decent state of finance when they, came for the second term, and they knew very well what was to be offered. Kindly remember, the allocation in the 23-24 budget has come down a lot in terms of the planned expenditure in education, sports, arts and culture, from 22 lakh 745 crore. It has come down to 24,328. Just a marginal. I mean, it has gone up just by 7%, but it has been, very, very
Right. So,
tentative in social
yeah,
welfare,
yeah,
nutrition,
yeah,
2%.
yeah.
And, all this puts a pressure. So it has to look at the interest payment, pension, salaries, which is,
Right. So, but the
in
point
the
is,
negative.
yeah, but the point is that, when you are cutting back on Onam, that too these kits, which, I mean, Tamil Nadu sees to it that Pongal, everyone gets it. Yugadi, I see in Karnataka, you get kits. So I think that, it's a very important part, not just about the cultural aspect, but also as a federal structure that we, the South, are. I think these things, I mean, more than reveries like the North Indians call it, I would see it as, schemes, welfare schemes, and we have to understand where has Kerala really gone wrong or gone awry. B.A. Prakash, who is the former chairperson of 5th State Finance Commission in Kerala, has also joined us. Mr. Prakash, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah, Mr. Prakash, what is it? We all know that the federal structure, Mr. Prakash, it allows states to tax. but their borrowing capacity is defined by the center. Also, we all know about the FRBM Act, where you have to get your act together, to put it very mildly. What is this that Kerala is doing? It's cut back on the Onam kits, and it's only giving to those who are severely economically marginalized. What is it? A case of a state mismanaging its its finances, not planning enough for the budget, overspending, not enough tax collection. How do you look at it, Mr. Prakash?
All available data on state finances suggests that Kerala is facing an unprecedented fiscal crisis. Even the finance minister said that Kerala is facing an unprecedented fiscal crisis. I think the poor financial management is the main reason for this state of affairs. And currently, the state do not have resources other than, the entire available resources is spent for salary, pension and certain essential items of expenditure. And for all other items of expenditure, you don't have money. That type of a grave situation is facing in the state. So naturally, the government have no other option but to cut down expenditure on all aspects. Wherever possible, the government is cutting down expenditure, and this is the context in which we are facing this type of a situation.
Right. So, but tell me something, Mr. Prakash, before I go to Gokul Chandran, I want to ask you one more question, Mr. Prakash, that is this a very serious indication if a government starts cutting back on an annual festival kit that is expected from the people, that yes, the government will give us semia for payasam, or they will give it chakravarti and stuff like that. Do you think it's a very, very serious indication, like the doctors say, is your body giving you a sign, as it were, that you are sick?
So, this is the hard reality you have to take into consideration. In 2016, the state government published a white paper in which it is stated that the government is facing a serious crisis in 2016. And certain suggestions are put forward to improve the finances. But the government has not taken steps, and the government has been following fiscal extravagant type of policies. And the result is that now we reached a situation where the state is facing an unprecedented crisis, and the state is not having any resources. So, and the state is struggling to find resources. So, during the COVID pandemic, there was serious problem, but during the post-COVID period, also things have not improved much.
Right. Gokul Chandran has also joined us, and let me say hello to him. Hi, Gokul. Gokul, the thing is, also, ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing, we are discussing Onam, because, the Onam kits which have been given by the government, they've cut back on it. They are only giving it to those who have yellow ration cards, those who are economically severely marginalized. So, we are asking that cutting back on Onam kits the only solution to curtail spending by the government, or does Kerala need drastic measures? Just now Mr. Prakash was talking about it. He was member of the Finance Commission Kerala, and he said this has been going on for a very long time. It's time that we do some kind of a surgical strike on this and get the finances right in Kerala. Gokul Chandran, your party the party that you support, I beg your pardon, they have been speaking about drastic steps to be taken. They talk about the toxic debt culture. They talk about overspending. You've spoken about, how there is borrowing, which is completely bizarre. There is no logic to this borrowing. You're speaking about a lot of issues and say something needs to be done. I want to hear it from you. You know what happened today when I was reading the papers, and, I read many papers from the south of India, but this news really struck me, because being a South Indian, it's like telling me no Onam for you. Unless we've had a bereavement, is one or two festivals we have. Imagine that those families are not going to get these kits. How do you look at it? What does it indicate to you, Gokul, this kind of a step?
Yeah, Sudha, see, the financial situation, the economic situation of Kerala has gone from worse to worse for the past 5-6 years. The state government has not taken any measures to stop the slide by whatever means. They are taking loans after loan, and they are not able to manage the economy properly. That is the biggest concern that state of Kerala is having today. The till 2000, the first term of Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan, that is 2016, till he came to power, the amount which was taken as loan by Kerala, and after Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan took over his first term and second term, he has crossed that amount. That is right from 1947 to 2014, and after that they have the amount has doubled actually, and the amount was taken after Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan came to power. But they are not stopped. Yeah, I understand that the state is getting revenue, and I can understand the state doesn't have much of revenue other than the liquor and lottery. Everything is understood, but then the spending by state government on various things, unnecessary things, is unpardonable. We cannot pardon the efforts of state governments in being so benevolent towards certain issues which is affecting such welfare measures. The salaries are not being given properly, the pensioners are not being given pensions regularly. The KSRTC, which is one of the backbone of Kerala, it is in a huge loss and it is in an irreparable stage.
Right.
Such are the more economic issues that Kerala is facing today, and I agree that few measures needs to be taken to prop up this economy, but not this way. Not by the poor shouldn't be affected much. Giving a Onam kit once a year shouldn't make much of a difference for the government. I don't know why Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan chose not to give Onam kits to all people. He's irrespective of all ration card holders. I don't know why he has denied that.
Right. Mr. Rajendran, you know, also Pinarayi has now announced, to make Kerala extreme poverty free state by 2025. So he's listed out what all is he going to do. Children of families living in severe conditions will get free travel in buses, education related purposes, the usual manifesto kind of language, higher education scholarship, and livelihood development schemes, etc. I am not for a moment saying that Kerala has not done well. I am sure in a lot of indices they have. But this kind of a promise, when your coffers are running empty, what makes him do this, Mr. Rajendran? I just don't understand this. Is it that because he's had a long run? Is it because the opposition is very weak? What is the reason you think for him to sit there? If I have 2 rupees in my wallet, I would get fever.
So let me just take you to the center and I'll bring you back to Kerala. The center says it's giving free food grains to 80 crore Indians, right? Which means it has not been able to ensure that even 10 crore of people start earning. At the same time, they cut the free, the concession which is given to the senior citizen in railways.
Right.
This is exactly what's happening in Kerala. You are creating a big noise about helping the poor, as you rightly said, removing poverty and other things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're trying to cut on small happiness. These are small happiness of people. See, people matter, and probably what happens is when people stay in power for long, they tend to forget that they have been elected on a lease.
Yeah, also Mr. Rajendran, my other fear, constitution. Yeah, sure, but Mr. Rajendran, my other fear is also this, with all that Ganesha controversy which has been raging on and on in Kerala, where some leaders of the ruling dispensation spoke allegedly disparagingly about this lord, and then it's been going on and on. Somehow if you cut back on Onam kits, it could be misconstrued. We live in an atmosphere like that, don't you think, where everyone is going to jump to conclusion and say, will he do it for X religion, for Y religion, why is he doing it for us? Don't you think that is also a danger, a pit that Pinarayi would have to watch out for?
Absolutely, Sudha. You touched the right nerve, and this is what is going to be a big question. And this is what is happening. Probably you will have discontentment. I mean, we are proud as people from Kerala with high literacy rate, and higher forex contributor to the country. Bring highest number of foreign exchange, but somewhere these kind of policy decision which are more political in nature, bereft of the economic aspects which needs to be looked in before you take such a decision, has major ramifications.
And by saying that, oh, but we are going to pay you, bonuses or pension on time. I mean, you pay me pension, I deserve it. No. What's the big deal about it? I do not know why governments go around saying these things, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I could be hurtling towards an age where maybe I require pension. You are supposed to pay me pension. No, you are not doing me any favor. Sorry. And even if I send you the largest foreign remittance, I have a right to celebrate Onam. If I am in that privileged category of getting a kit, give me my Onam kit. Very simple. It's not about, and I think that people would be right if they are up in arms that why is it that you will not do it for someone else. No, I don't believe, you know me, you've seen my show, Gokul Chandran knows me, Mr. Rajendran knows me, that I never speak like this, but it hurts. But it hurts, if I don't get what I deserve, then obviously you are depriving me of what I think is my cultural right. For God's sake, Mr. Prakash, if you would please come in, I want to ask you something. If the government found, sir, that it had spent, let us say, to give the kit to everyone would cost them 1,000 crores, because last time that's the amount they spent. Please tell me that do they even have plans to kind of earn it back, or they only keep spending and cutting back on all these expenses?
The basic cause of, or the root of the fiscal crisis in Kerala is salary and pension revision once in 5 years. Last time when the state government revised salary and pension, the total additional expenditure was about, net increase was about 25,000 crores. So many committees and commissions, they have said that it is not possible for the state government to enhance or revise salary and pension once in 5 years. Most of the committees, they are recommended for revision once in 10 years. But the government is revising once in 5 years, and this is the root cause. And the cumulative expenditure or the fiscal consequences is very high. This is the basic reason why the state is facing persistent fiscal crisis. And this is the context in which we have to examine the situation in Kerala. Kerala is facing an unprecedented crisis due to these type of policies, and you don't have resources. You don't have resources even to meet the expenditure related with maintaining the roads, or providing medicine to the hospitals, or you don't have funds for anything, all essential items. So this is the context in which we are facing, and this is the context in which the government was forced to cut down the distribution of kits to the owner always.
Yeah. Mr. Prakash, there are some indications. I mean, of course, you understand macroeconomics much better than anyone. I mean, I don't. So, I'm getting a lot of queries on my phone, sir. A lot of women seem to be very distressed, mostly women. They are asking questions and they are saying, why is it? And I think it's a very pertinent question. And when the state is making its budget or preparing its budget, it sure takes into account for all the expenses, or doesn't it? If you have unforeseen expenses, then of course, but then there are certain expenses which are fixed. Why is it that the Kerala government is not giving Onam kits to everyone? What does it mean? Does it mean that it is mismanaged? Does it mean that they diverted the funds elsewhere, or does it mean that they are just being very, very prudent?
It is a question of total mismanagement. See, I have already mentioned to you that in 2016, the same government, they have published a white paper and they said that things are very bad and the state government should take action to prevent a collapse. Even at that time, the white paper predicted that by 2021, the state finances will collapse. But the government has not taken serious note of it, not taken much attention on that to reduce the expenditure, unnecessary expenditure, things like that. Instead, the government went on revising salary and pension once in 5 years, and this is the result. And the huge additional expenditure of nearly a net increase of about 25,000 crores in 2020-21 period.
Sir, what would you define as that one, overspending or unnecessary expenditure, sir? What is that one thing that you can talk about?
See, what I feel is that, here in Kerala, I think the trade unions, especially the public sector trade unions and also the government employees, they are very strong people and they are in a position to compel the government to revise salary and pension once in 5 years. In all India, in other states, salary and pensions are revised once in 10 years. Please remember that. In other states and also in the central government, there is pay and pensions are revised once in 10 years. But Kerala is one of the very few states where salary and pension revision is taking place once in 5 years. And we don't have the resources to meet that type of expenditure. And the result is that all other sections of the people, public services are suffering, public hospitals are suffering, and all other categories of people are suffering. Now in Onam, our poor people, they are suffering, mainly because of this type of extravagant expenditure. That Kerala cannot afford.
Right. Gokul, I want to, a lot of people are also saying that you live there, I don't, but this whole bumper lottery, and also there are some kind of tweaking around alcohol, the excise, and so basically the government is looking at what is called as short-term gains, as it were. But don't you think that the long-term loss, Gokul Chandran, in this entire thing where, the tax collection seems to be poor, like Mr. Prakash says, there is no planning at all. It seems to be going on auto mode. Don't you think the long-term plan goes against the very grain of what Kerala stands for, which is government for the people? That's what makes Kerala also stand out amongst all the other states in South India, Gokul.
Yeah, Sudha, see, as you talk about lockdown, this lockdown and the Kerala Assembly elections came together. So what did the government, the LDF government do? They gave away all the pending welfare pensions, the salaries, the ration, everything at one go. There were some 6-7 months pending. Everything was wiped off in just 1 month, just before the elections, just to win the election. They never thought what we will do when we come to power next. That is the start of the downfall. Actually, it was sliding bit, and after by 2021, when the second LDF government came to power, it collapsed completely. See, but still, you asked what are the measures can be taken to give, at least not to improve the economy, at least give confidence to the people. See, Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan and his ministers are changing their cars at will. The CPM people, particularly, and I'm not talking LDF, the CPM people, their leaders are accommodated in government positions and they are being given handsome salaries. And these people are watching. The people will think, if these people of the party, the leaders of CPM, they get into government jobs, government organizations, and they take enough money. But if the government, can't the government even give us a Onam kit? That's the common talk of the people. Because if you see the government functioning, you will see it is a lavish government. That's what it appears to be. If you see the ministers, if you see the chief minister, and even the bureaucrats, it feels that it is a very lavish and a rich government. If you think something happening in Karnataka or Tamil Nadu, the same happens in Kerala. So this things has to be stopped. People are watching. You can't have a Kia Carnival one day, that Toyota Fortuner next day. No, the chief minister of such a state, the chief minister of such a economically poor state cannot be so lavish and fool the people or mock the people, showing his richness and lavishness.
Right. So that brings me to Mr. Rajendran. Mr. Rajendran, slightly kind of long-term vision, as it were, from what Gokul Chandran said. Look at it. There are corruption charges against the chief minister. The recent one allegedly involving his daughter. There have been corruption charges in the past. We all know it, which involved Mr. Shivashankar also. We know that about Life Mission scam. We know about, a list of other scams, Vadakancheri, everything. We've been through the history. The point is that with this, people's measures also taking a backseat. This Onam kit, I'm again asking, why not Onam kit for everyone? I'm going to go to Mr. Prakash and ask what would he have done. So, Mr. Rajendran, do you think that this is creating Pinarayi is taking a beating with all this? Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, in the sense, somewhere you could see that as Gokul had mentioned, the lavishness or the unnecessary expenditure which the government has been undertaking, especially in the last 2-3 years, has created a discontentment among people, and people have started questioning, where are the funds for the welfare measures? Why is there a cut in many of the programs which had been announced by the same government in the first term? Coming to the corruption part, Sudha, see, these are the issues which have been brushed under the carpet. There are no proper investigation which has happened. Probably a lot of skeletons will come out of the cupboard once a proper investigation is done, and it's very necessary that
basically Pinarayi Vijayan's
whatever allegations are made need to be explored.
Yeah, his image has taken a beating. Mr. Prakash, I want to ask you hypothetically that what would you have done if you see that your coffers are running empty in Kerala, and that there is no way out because the revenue, whatever the resources were, perhaps have dried up? Would you also cut back on the Onam kit, sir? Couldn't you have? Don't you think that the government, or if you were in one of the places where you could take a decision, done something to give everybody Onam kits, Mr. Prakash?
Here, madam, you have to bear in mind this aspect. You are facing an acute, unprecedented crypto crisis. You don't have money to purchase medicine for distribution in the public hospitals. So this is the nature of the crisis. So in this type of a crisis, what is the bond of talking about giving Onam kits to the people? See, the situation is so precarious and the government is not having funds and nothing can be done. And that type of a very gloomy situation is prevailing. Unfortunately, the fiscal management is very poor, and that is the reason.
Right. So good I provoked you, because I knew that as somebody, as an economist, you would speak about, that why talk about Onam kits when people don't even have money perhaps to buy, the government rather, to procure medicines. When it comes to KSRTC's salaries, I want to read out and look at it, this minister, Transport Minister Antony Raju, he blames the Finance Department for the delay in disbursing salaries, and he says, sir, please listen, Mr. Prakash, this month the Finance Department approved only 30 crores and we are yet to receive it. An earlier demand for rupees 60 crores is yet to be approved. The delay in salary payment has therefore raised protest amongst employees. What is going on, sir? I mean, it seems like the right hand does not know what the left hand is doing.
In the treasury, you don't have funds to pay the amount. That is the reality. See, the KSRTC people, they look upon the government to get money for their salaries and pensions. And what the government is doing is that the government is borrowing money from some sources and giving salaries or even pensions. Now the treasury, they don't have funds. How they can give money to KSRTC? That type of a very precarious situation that is prevailing in the state. So that is the ground reality.
I guess
in this type of a situation, what the government can do?
I know, but I guess Mahabali would have to descend once again, I guess, you know, and somehow save the people of Kerala from the financial crisis. Mr. Prakash, you know, let's not, if I may request you, you know, if there is a way out, I mean, what seems to be, because borrowing doesn't seem to be the option now. You know, what is the way out? Give us some hope. Leave us with some hope, Mr. Prakash.
See, you know, I have been the chairman of the Kerala Public Expenditure Committee for 4 years, 3 years, and also the chairman of the State Finance Commission. I have explained the finances in detail, and I have given so many recommendations to the finances, even in some 10 years back. The successive governments in Kerala, they were not prepared to implement any measures for improving the finances. You see, that is the political economy here, and I don't have much hope about the situation, and I don't think there is any possibility for improving the system will collapse and lead to anarchy.
Oh my God, but thank you so much, Mr. B.A. Prakash, for joining us and speaking your heart out. I mean, he says that the situation is very, very grim. He says he had given some recommendations to the state government, that is to Kerala, but they did not pay heed. But I think that perhaps if it pays heed even now, then who knows, maybe the situation will improve. That's what we want as South Indians, as the South Indian, that the situation please better improve. Thank you so much, Mr. Rajendran. Thank you, Gokul. It was such a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you very much. The South Indian is taking a break, but will be back to smell the beautiful fragrance of Malligai. Wait for me.